Hello, bearded bee people. Welcome back to Bee and KBs. I wanted to talk a little bit about the battle between honey production and swarm prevention, because those two, if done to their extremes, or if set off as a goal, one or the other, can really contradict each other. So the idea in swarm prevention is to get these bees to consider themselves not built up yet. The second they consider themselves having taken care of the job of building up during the build-up portion of the year, these bees are going to get up and go. And so the next idea or the next thought is, well, what convinces them of that fact? Well, nectar coming in convinces them of the fact that it's the build-up portion of the year, and having built up is usually decided by whether or not the queen has place to lay. So, if this bottom box, if this brood box is absolutely packed with capped brood, or being backfilled with nectar, or in any way is not allowing the queen any space to lay, the bees inside the hive that have never seen the outside, so they don't know what's going on outside, they only read the cues that are going on inside the hive, and those bees are going to consider the job of having built up completed. So as soon as that happens, we're going to start making queen cups, and that queen is going to lay in those cups, and these bees are going to be gone in 8 days. So we have to convince them constantly that they're still building up until the swarm portion of the year is done. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult doing that with single brood chambers as opposed to doubles. But generally, the idea is knocking the swarm impulse out of them in the spring via a split, and then constant paying attention to the brood area frames, making certain that they're not getting backfilled, and making certain that she's not completed her job totally, making certain that it's not filled entirely with capped brood. Now I'm seeing open cells, obviously for the most part those are cells where bees had emerged recently, but that's part of the process too. So, you don't have to always remove all capped brood. That would deplete your bees, or deplete your hive of bees, but you just have to kind of constantly play that game of balancing, keeping enough population, keeping enough brood to regenerate that population, and keeping enough open area in which that queen can continue laying. But I have queen cells here, so this is an apt video. So I have 2 little queen cups there on the bottom with larvae in them. I do see eggs, so I think that queen is in here, and what I'm going to try to do is find her real quick so that I make sure I'm not grabbing her, and I'm going to pull 2 brood frames out of this hive. I hate working with gloves. I should do a video on that. The only reason I have gloves on right now is because I'm messing around with Mite Away quick strips. Now this colony looks good. It met all of the criteria that I was talking about before. It has open cells for her to lay, and yet they're still preparing to swarm. Which just kind of proves that in beekeeping there's no hard line, this is how it is and this is how it isn't. bees do what they want. The best we can do is try to analyze the situation and take an educated guess as to what they're doing and what they're going to do. Alright, I found her. So I'm going to set her off to the side. And grab 2 brood frames and move it over to a split box that I have over here. What am I doing? I'm trying to grab capped brood. Not just any brood. There's some. Beautiful. Okay, now an even more ideal situation would have been to replace this with empty but drawn frames. But this time of year I don't have any of those left over. So it's all foundation from here on out. But the good thing is the nectar's flowing, so they'll be able to start drawing these out quickly, and then you know, the queen doesn't have to wait until they get the whole thing drawn out in order to start laying in it. She'll start laying in it almost immediately when they start drawing it out. And then it'll be considered extra space that she has not laid into and continue to ward off the swarms. So I'll get back into that box within the next 6 or 7 days, just to make sure that what I did, the actions that I took, worked and that they stopped their swarm preparations. I do expect that to be the case, but if not, then I'll come back through and I'll end up pulling the queen out and doing a true swarm simulation split. But for the most part, when you catch it right at the beginning, or just preferably just a little bit before they start the preparation, taking out a couple frames and just kind of convincing them that they have a little bit more work to do will at least delay it long enough for them to put some honey up, and then you can split them later. So I probably won't be doing all that, but I do expect these bees to stay here and continue making that box heavy as heck. So like I said, I'll get back in here in another week and check for cells. So it's difficult balancing swarming and honey production, and it's just a little bit more difficult with singles. Singles are nice because you can work them really easily. They overwinter very, very, very well, and you can, you know, overwinter them with putting 1 bucket of syrup on them. It's just a real good way to keep bees, in my opinion, except for the nectar and the honey portion of the year. It just becomes a little bit problematic and a little bit difficult running around trying to stay ahead of them and make sure that they're not backfilling that area with nectar. So, but that's not what they're doing right now, and they're putting it in the honey box. That's awesome. I'm happy to see that. So get out there and make sure your bees are not getting ready to swarm off. Pull out the capped brood if you can, and if they are planning to. And hopefully you're putting up a bunch of honey like I am. So thanks for watching. Get out there and have some fun with your bees. See ya.